Hi there, it's Kevin with RogueDeckBuilder.com here with this week's episode of the Market Monday. I want to apologize for last week. I actually was in the middle of recording a video and then I had to go take care of an emergency and just thought to hell with it. The video was one of those pretty good ranty videos about Wizard of the Coast, the direction of their reprints. We get another set, the Planeswalker booster boxes. Planeswalker masterpieces is what people are calling them. It's $250 MSRP directly from Wizard of the Coast's Hasbro toy shop, and that's what is causing people to be up in arms. A lot of local game stores are rightly so very upset by this move. Just on the heel end of Wizards getting rid of the direct to local game store sales, they then skip local game stores again by going directly to their customers, and there is pretty big fallout from that. And every action has an equal reaction, and in this case, I think that there will be consequences for Wizards of the Coast kind of going down this road. They also had kind of a condescending response of why they're doing it, saying that they didn't want to burden local game stores with a product like this, and it's just an experimentation of how well something will sell directly from their website. So I had a very big rant about how Wizards of the Coast, whenever they're on the distribution end of things, they are terrible. We've missed a pre-release before because Wizards was just too lazy to ship it off. My entire experience with dealing with Wizards directly has been absolutely awful. In fact, that's when they got rid of Wizards direct sales to local game stores. I kind of clapped my hands because I'm like, who cared anyway? We only use Wizards at last resort or for extra allotment through them. So if we get extra allotment through distributors, then, who cares? I'd much rather deal with our reps over at our distributor than I would at Wizards any day. But anyway, that was kind of the gist of the video. We've had other people cover it. There have been other financial people talk about the impact it could have on the secondary market with just really depending on the print numbers. I've heard 5,000, I've heard 10,000, I've heard 20,000, I've heard print to demand. We don't know. And so that's something we're going to have to wait and see exactly how the Planeswalker booster boxes are going to affect the secondary market. So one thing I do know is a lot of local game stores have said that they have had some people cancel their pre-orders because the value is just better. Even if you're looking at the $250 MSRP for the Planeswalker decks, you're looking at the average price of those full art Planeswalkers only has to cover about $25. And depending on where you value the booster packs at MSRP at $4 of booster packs, and I believe they only have to, I think they only have to be like $18 a piece. They have to average $18. But if you put them at the $2.11 for booster pack, it was something like the Planeswalkers only had to value about $200 or $25 each. The booster box is going to be short on packs. It's just going to be a 24 booster box, 24 packs per booster box, and that is that. So again, I'm not going to go too much into detail about that. That was a video for another day, and unfortunately that video got scrapped. What I am wanting to talk about is a little bit the spoilers from the Guilds of Ravnica, how they're going to impact the market, and also talking about timing like we've talked about many times before on the Rogue Market. I like to slip in on some hot buys right now where the focus is off the sets that were just opened, and you can get in on some really, really sweet cards. So what I'm going to be showing you is cards that I am currently investing in. First of all, where most of you, if you follow me, a lot of you do look at my trends on CardSphere just to see the cards that I have. Usually if I want a card, I'll put it at 71% on CardSphere. And right now I've got all of the what we call buddy lands or check lands. I've been buying those like crazy at the 71 percentile because I think that the 3 and 4 color decks are going to be the norm. We're entering into another standard era where casting Goblin Chain Whirler in a 4 color deck on turn 3 is not unlikely to happen. So the mana is that good. Last time, this isn't perfect mana. This isn't what we experienced with Battle for Zendikar and Khans. This is going to be almost perfect mana, which we already experienced during Innistrad and Return to Ravnica. In fact, I think we have the exact playset or the sets of both of them, the Shocks and the Buddy Lands, were a whole set of them, not missing out on like enemy or allied colored ones. So we will be missing out on specifically the guild ones that will come out in the next Ravnica set. However, this time around we have the Boros we have Selesnya, we have Dimir, we have Izzet, and we have Golgari. All of those Shocklands are going to be reprinted. Now, people have asked about Shocklands, where I think they will settle. I think that they will settle between the $3 and $5 range. I think that these, even though they'll be seeing tons of play in a multitude of decks, Ravnica is still not that expensive, or Return to Ravnica is not that expensive of a box. There are still plenty of those out there. And the supply of Shocklands, they were also in Dragon's Maze. So people have been talking about how this is a third printing. No, this is really like the fourth printing, because you did on average 2 Shocklands per booster box of the Dragon's Maze. So you had the original Ravnica block that produced Shocklands. The supply of those are quite low. Then you had the Return to Ravnica Gate Crash supply, which was insanely high. And then Dragon's Maze, which was also pretty high of supply entering back in to the mix. So this one, I think, will be the straw that breaks the camel's back. There will be more Shocklands out there. And Modern does average a couple, I think they average like 2.5 per deck for Shocklands if you put all the tier decks together and how many they use. There's a couple that use 5, there's a couple that use 4, there's a couple that don't even use any. And so on average, you're looking about 2.5 per Modern. So I don't think Modern's going to outstretch too much of that demand. It's going to be Modern's really been, Commander and Modern have been already slowly outstretching that. The Shocklands did go up in value. Steam Vents did almost approach $20, but for the vast majority of them, they've been a slow rise for the Shocklands. So this is going to be the set that completely kills the value on the Shock. So anyway, let's get going here to what we're talking about. So first of all, the first thing I like to look at for spoilers is going to be looking at the heavy hitters, of course, what decks are going to come out of those, as well as Commander. I'm still under the mindset that Commander is where the bread and butter is for investments. Now, Modern, you can start to see a lot of spikes. Same with Legacy. They'll have some really swingy spikes around Pro Tours or Grand Prix, and then the market will be very cold. If you're looking for slow and steady growth, then Commander is the way to go. And what I like about Commander 2 is you have the window of buying cards for very cheap is very, very long. And also buying and selling. So you can always find Commander cards for 50% value on Cardsphere, and then also sell them off at 85% value. That's kind of my strategy on Cardsphere, is just wait for a buyer and wait for a seller. And so you put your 51% on Commander staples, and then 85, and then I have my on Cardsphere I have or even on TCG Player or other places I sell, I'll have a number of where I'm willing to get rid of that card, and sometimes within days I'll refill cards that I sold for a higher price. And these cards actually do move. That's why you see the little trickle up of these type of cards on MG Goldfish. You never see these massive spikes. It's just a few cents a day, and you go through a year, a few cents a day is 2 cents a day is $6 in a year. So anyway, that is a topic I've talked about a lot here on Market Monday, is why I like Commander staples so much. I think this is going to be a goodie for Commander. There's going to be a lot of multicolor cards. So of course, there's a lot of decks, especially if they fit in Atraxa colors or in Marin colors, that those type of decks are the most played decks in Commander. If those cards are seen in those decks, they have the highest chance of going up the quickest, as the Marin and the Atraxa decks will then include them. Speaking of Atraxa, Chromatic Lantern gets another reprint. This will be a card that I'm going to wait till this bottoms out, and then you should be picking these Chromatic Lantern up. It's proved itself in the past. I believe it's a very, very expensive card at the moment. Let's go ahead and check the prices of some of these to get an idea of where they settle down to. But the Chromatic Lantern is currently, from the last reprinting, is a $16 card, $15 card. So you can see the reprint didn't even affect it when it was reprinted. The Commander set it just went up, and away up to the highest price was, well, today is the highest price until now. The reprint is going to put this down. I think that this $10 pre-sale is way too high. For a pretty good example is the Gilded Lotus. Gilded Lotus. Jeez, I can't spell today. Lotus. The Gilded Lotus, from Dominaria, same thing, had a high pre-sale price of $7, and went all the way down to $2, $3 is what it flatlined out. Speaking of which, we'll be talking about this a little bit later down the road for Market Monday. This is one of the cards I'm all in on. Yes, it is in a pre-constructed, or it's in a Planeswalker deck, but those tend to have already been purchased. There's not going to be a lot more of these entering the field. Keep a good lookout in the future, though, if those Planeswalker decks do bottom out. Planeswalker decks don't show up on my kind of the closeout deals that I buy. A lot of times with my distributors, I'll ask if they have any of these specific like intro decks or pre-release packs or things like that. And there, a lot of times you can find these cool what we call arbitrage, where there will be, say, $20 worth of cards in a $10 product, and it's like $20 you can sell. And so it's just free money right there to buy out their stock of it. Like right now, I've been buying a lot of Eldritch Moon intro packs just because the Eldritch Moon is tough to find to begin with for sealed booster packs. And the intro packs come with 2 in each one of them. And there's also Bedlam Reveler in one of them that is, sitting around like $5. And so it drives the price down on how much the intro packs have to have on value before I'll be able to recoup just the amount of booster packs plus value in it. And there you go. So keep in mind Gilded Lotus in the future. I can't remember exactly which Planeswalker deck it is included in, but if those ever do go on closeout, that's a good opportunity to get in if Gilded Lotus goes back up to like the $10 range. But then again, that's something in the very, very far future. So Chromatic Lantern, I expect it also to be devalued down to the 4, 3 to 4, I think is the right range. You don't know if this is going to be in any sort of pack. Like, we are entering into what I call reprint hell. There are so many products year over year that Wizards keeps messing around with. Like right now we have the Spellslinger deck. We also have the Game Knights deck. We have guild packs for each guild. I believe we are still going to have Planeswalker packs as well. And it's just, there's just so many products. Who knows if we're going to get another like Explorer of Ixalan type game. It seems to be about time for something like that. Christmas season is coming up. Wizards likes to usually put like a board game type game, a Magic game on the market for Christmas time. It could easily have like a Chromatic Lantern in those. All those type of reprints, you need to definitely keep your eye out on it. Other than that, the spoilers haven't been too juicy except for this Assassin's Trophy. Assassin's Trophy has got the entire internet up in arms, or just really talking about how this card is going to warp every format. It's going to be a staple in every commander deck. It's going to be a staple, or of course, every green or Golgari colored commander deck. It's also going to shake Modern up, as now we have an effective way to deal with a lot of problematic cards. This is something you can safely mainboard, and it's exactly what a color, either Sultai or Jund, or even Siege Rhino. Why I can't even think of Siege Rhino's color combination. Abzan are going to be wanting these. I think it might actually even replace Path to Exile in some instances, other than 1 mana to 2 mana. Of course, 1 mana color to 2 mana color is huge. But I mean, it basically does the exact same thing the Path to Exile does. The land does get to come into play untapped, so keep that in mind. But you can destroy any permanent for the low cost of 2 mana, and all the opponent gets to do is get a basic land. So it's going to push more of playing basic lands. Now you have to worry about both Path to Exile and Assassin's Trophy have enough targets for them. So you might see the mana base in Modern get a little less greedy. You can also lock out particular colors, or this was going to be good against the lands, like the man lands in Modern. So a lot of people are talking about Assassin's Trophy. It is a rare, not an uncommon. So Fatal Push got all the way up to $9, I believe. This card could easily go up to the $20 and stick at the $20 mage range until the hype of this card goes down. Now, let's see if there's a pre-selling price on the Assassin's Strike. Assassin's Trophy. Pre-selling for $35. Now that's a little too rich, especially if this might be included in the guild packs. I would assume, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they'll put that, but you got to think their standard showdown packs will have these. It's very, very tough in this day and age for a rare to hold this sort of price tag. Now, I don't even think this is as playable as Fatal Push. What I mean by that is Fatal Push can go in any black deck. This has to go in specifically a black-green deck. So right out the gates, that is going to be a lot of black decks that use Fatal Push at the moment, like the Death Shadow that's on just the 3-color Grixis Death Shadow. Of course, isn't going to want to use Assassin's Trophy. This actually might want them to splash into it, though, But it's funny because the card that people want to splash for is also the card that it can punish a lot of these greedy mana bases. So we'll have to wait and see how that shakes up Modern. It might push a lot of the decks that don't care about this, like Humans, Hardened Scales Affinity, Humans. I'd even put Spirits on that list. A lot of them, what I say they don't care about cards like this is you don't want to play the 1-for-1 route with them. They're going to outvalue, especially Humans. If you take care of a card with Assassin's Trophy, they're just going to replace that with 2 more cards. And especially this is getting them a land, can ramp them up. That's the same thing with, I would even put with like the Hardened Scales Affinity or all the creature value based decks right now that are in the Modern meta are not really going to. What this is really going to affect is like the greedy mana bases or the things that have like 1 or 2 win conditions. Like I think UI Control, this is a miserable card for them to deal with. One of the things about that made UI Control pretty good is their win conditions dodged the Abrupt Decay, and Maelstrom Pulse was sorcery speed. So your opponent had to use it on their turn, and then you could hold up counterspell mana or draw at the end of turn. So I think the UI Control gets a lot of this can be a great card versus UI Control. It's not going to affect Humans. It's going to be a great card versus Mono Green Tron. Not going to affect Hardened Scales. Burn's going to care less about it. Storm's going to care less about it. Black Red Hollow One's going to care less about it. Bant Spirits. So people are talking about how well this fits in Modern, but really not. The whole thing is though it could bring new life because the Mono Green Tron and UI Control, they really prey on other mid-range or value, or not value-based decks, but attrition-based decks. So that's why we're not seeing Jund high up right now, or Abzan is just completely gone at the moment. Even Mardu Pyromancer is starting to trend downwards. It's those type of decks are getting preyed on by these two. So that's led a vacuum here for Humans and Hardened Scales and Burn and Storm and all these ones that just, they can race Tron or just outvalue UI Control. So anyway, that's enough analysis on Modern. I'm not under the impression that this is going to do too much to, of course, it's going to add a new tool to Modern for sure, and it's going to be played in those archetypes that can play it, but I don't think it's going to warp the format. Legacy already had the Deathrite Shaman get nerfed or get banned, so that color combination has been not as popular as it once was, but again, this is going to be another tool for the Legacy format. Commander, of course, is going to want this card as well, and basically every Commander deck, it's the perfect card for Commander. One of your opponent just gets a basic land to get rid of any problematic card, including a Commander, from your opponent. So, yeah, there we have it. Again, we'll keep more up to date with these spoilers as more juicy ones come out. But what I want to talk about right now is our good old friend EDH Rec, and where I think this is a great time to kind of slip under the radar and start picking up cards that people are going to forget about. So the trends happen, the market trends in Magic the Gathering happen as such. When something is new and shiny comes out, people focus on that and they dump their other cards, or it causes a lack of purchasing in specific cards, and then that allows you to pick up those, because a lot of like vendors on TCG Player or even vendors on just the internet, what they do is they constantly crawl each other's data and try to undercut each other. And so if something doesn't sell, that leads a copy on the market, and then someone else comes in and undercuts them. Well, okay, since something didn't sell because people are focused on new and shiny, now there's 2 things on the market that usually under a normal state would not be there. And then someone else comes in and it creates a domino effect, and prices tend to cool off or at least stagnate right there. And that's a perfect time to get on these staples that are going to go up. So what I like about EDH Rec is it's got this little set function, and you can come here and you can start and you can click on some of these sets like the Core Set 2019 and the Dominaria, and start to look at trends that people are playing, what specific cards they are playing. So you can see the Cleansing Nova, Satyr Enchanter, and Meteor Golem. Uncommons, I think, have plenty of time before they start to go up. We have the Tezzeret Artifice Master is used in a ton of decks. The Master Thopterus, the Nexus of Fate, the Lathliss Dragon Queen. That one was very, very interesting that it was seeing this much play in Commander, and same thing with the Dragon's Horde. All of those might be a good time, because if we have any sort of historical data, the market has changed. I used to not worry about Commander cards until way past post-rotation. But if you come over here to standard cards, though, you can see that a lot of them, even as recent as Our Devastation, have already started to go up. They're not hitting their bottom from rotation. So they hit their bottom in their draft a little bit after the time they're drafted. So this is the portion Mirage Mirror is drafted, and then it just kind of hit its critical mass here where there's a lot more supply than demand here, and flatlined out at the $2 mark, and now has already creeped up. So this EDH staple is already past its mark to get it at its low. That ship has sailed. And so I think we're approaching that sort of time period for the Dominaria and the Core 2019. So Dragon Horde might be under this same Dragons Horde, Dragon Horde, Dragons. I just had it pulled up, man. Dragons Horde. Dragons Horde. There we go. All right, so yep, you can see this is probably flatlined out. It's probably not going down anymore. So if you can get it on this price point, this might be the time. I like M19 a lot. I think that people are it's going to be out of sight, out of mind very, very quickly here. And in fact, I think people are going to continue to purchase a little bit of Dominaria because we're approaching a Teferi at $50. Whereas Core 2019, its most expensive card, has already dipped down to the $30 mark. Now, I still do like Nicol Bolas the Ravager. We might be heading into a format where, of course, 3-color decks are nothing. You can play this in your mono black deck with Shocklands and Buddylands coming out. I mean, that's how easy it is to splash. I mean, hell, you can even put it in a mono black deck where swamps matter, and you still have plenty of swamps to get your or does that only work off basic swamp, the cobble, the new Cobble Coffers wannabe card. But you can see that the M19 is already the value is just not there anymore as far as the mythics. And even though I like the value of the set, I think the set value is not bad at all because you do have some rares that have held that nice little $2 and above slot. But I mean, usually you do need a rare above the $5 slot to really make it worthwhile to invest in sets like this. So it might be a good thing for M19 to further exasperate the supply of this where no one even wants to touch it when they have one chance of getting a $30 card, and that's in. I mean, there's the Crucible of Worlds that keeps going down. Sargon Fireblood that can't seem to approach above 15. He's played a 4 of in modern deck, and same with the Resplendent Angel, the Tezzeret going down, Scape Shift, everything boom, boom, boom down. So I still really like M19 as far as cards that do see some commander play because I just don't think that we're going to see a lot of this set being open. And there are some goodies here. We have the Laplace Dragon Queen. Of course, dragon decks are very popular in Commander. Last year, we had a dragon tribal deck that was printed. Who knows with their Commander anthologies the next year, if they choose the dragon deck for that, that could even increase even more people playing dragons. Or almost every set, some legendary dragon creature comes out, and people then are like, oh, I mean, Laplace is going to go in every dragon tribal deck. It's just perfect for that sort of, it works off dragon theme. And usually Ravnica does print 1 per set. Dragons are rare on Ravnica because I believe Nimizet in the storyline tried to kill them all off. He found them as his biggest competitor, and so he convinced everyone that they were dangerous. And so all the other dragons on Ravnica were hunted down. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where the hunted dragon storyline comes from. But anyway, I digress. But these are great pickups right now. They're pennies on the dollar. You can find these for pennies on the dollar. You should not be paying 79 cents for these type of cards. These are the type of cards that people will gladly send you at the 10 cent, 20 cent mark. There's a few good uncommons here, but it's really these rares that I like to focus on. Vivian might be a sleeper for standard, flying creatures, enchantments, artifacts. If any of those ever become quite a problem in standard, Vivian's a good solution for green. And look at this Runic Armasaur. This card was hyped up like crazy and is now clear down to bulk rare status. Same thing with Liliana's Contract. Historically, these type of cards, they tend to go up under the radar. Just these little commander-based cards. Let's go back here and try to find some other examples. I think even like Locust God's back on the move. It's hit its bottom. And so those are the ones I would focus from Core 2019. Right here in this 200 or more decks used. So the Runic Armasaur, the Goreclaw, Terror of Qualsisma, Laplace Dragon Queen, Dragon Sword, that is the sweet spot. These are really, really good pickups at the moment. Going back to Dominaria, we've seen even Dominaria prices start to go up, and we have the go on here to the most played cards. Helm of the Host. I think this is a great pickup right now, too. I think it's finally flatlined out. The one problem with this, Helm of the Host, the one problem between Dominaria, like I said, between Dominaria and Core 2019, though, is, yeah, it's definitely flatlined out, is I do believe that this is still going to be opened, because look at this monstrosity. Teferi continues to go up. I mean, this is breathed new life in Dominaria. Now, even though the full set value of Dominaria is quite, yeah, see, you can see that the set value compared to the core set value is relatively the same, and this holds more the price in the Mythic. And then, I mean, you really start to die down on rares over $2 pretty quickly. There's a couple uncommons though. Wizard's Lightning and Dampening Sphere. Wizard's Lightning's just crept up. Jeez. I didn't even notice this one happening. Crazy. I guess Wizards is still probably a pretty tier deck. And yeah, and it's also in Modern as well. But anyway, it's still not worth it to open a pack so you're trying to make money. But that doesn't stop the casuals from trying to get their $50 Teferi. When they go to look at which pack they should purchase, oh, boring M19 where it's got a $30 card, or whoa, look, I could get not only a $30 card but a $50 card in here. And then again, these prices fall pretty quickly. So there is some good stuff though from Dominaria as far as Commander is concerned. We have the Helm of the Host, which was very, very highly. It is such a busted card. There are so many commanders you can hook this up to, and it goes crazy. That I think is a great pickup right now. The Blackblade Reforged, same thing. Any Voltron-based commander or Equipment Matters-based commander loves the Blackblade Reforged. So Skip the Race of Blight Dragon, for example. This is just busted in the deck. The Cobble Stronghold, even though I don't like it too much in Commander, even in my Mono Black decks, because, yeah, it does say Basic Swamp. I don't run a lot of basics in even Mono Black. There are just so many lands that are utility that I especially when I'm in a monocolor deck, I tend to splurge on the utility lands. So I'm not a big fan of this for it, but it doesn't stop most people from playing it. We have even like Chalet, the Mending of Dominaria. This one's crazy. It's one of the most played cards in Commander for it goes in the deck, the Lands Matter deck very, very well, and it's sitting at 25 cents. It's sitting at bulk price. Mox Amber is starting to tick up. This will be a card that someday, this just card gets better and better and better as time goes on. The more low mana cost legendary creatures, 1 and 2 especially, come out, Mox Amber is going to eventually find a home. Mark my words, it's going to eventually find a tier 1 deck in Legacy, Modern, or somewhere. Look at this Mythic, even with Multanae, that is down to $2.79. This is card Kingdom price too, so I'm sure it's even less expensive. But there are some goodies here. The Oath of Teferi gets better and better with more Planeswalkers printed. And I would scour this list and really start to pick up these cards at their lows, because you're going to start to see that trend with... you can do the same for Rivals of Ixalan here. Let's see if any of these things, like Storm the Vault, this is another one that sees a lot of play. You can come over here to the EDH rec and click on the Rivals of Ixalan, and you can see the most played cards are going to be Atali, Primal Storm, yeah, basically every red deck shoes it in. Wayward Swordtooth, Journey to Eternity. All those have already gone up, because you can see the trends here. This does not see any standard play. Not really, anyway. There are a few decks here and there. Atali sees 0 standard play. It's very, very tough to make work in standard. Maybe a few dinosaur decks every now and again, but it's already commanding a high price tag just because of how it's played in Commander. Same thing, World Shaper. But if you scroll down the list, Archer Rask has already gone up, huh? If you scroll down the list, though, you can start to find some decent little pickups that are just very, very popular in Commander. Here's a good one with the Storm the Vault. Very, very tough to work in a constructed, or in a single player constructed game, but definitely in Commander, it's a very, very good card. I personally picked up a lot of Pitiless Plunder foils. See if those have gone up since I picked them up. They're like cheap. Like, I think I got them for 10 cents a piece. Pitiless Plunder. Yeah, I believe I got them for 10 cents a piece. Yay, woohoo, they're starting to tick up. I got them around here, and now they've gone back up. In fact, the buy list price is 90 cents. So I've got a whole stack of these. But, I mean, even these uncommons aren't even that bad. You can see the trend. You can see that it is going up here. You can follow the line here. And this is now a real value card, Pitiless Plunder. See if they're actually wanting them on a buy list yet. Nope, Card Kingdom does not want them on a buy list, but pretty soon I'm sure they will. And use this resource to your advantage. EDHREC is a not only a great, it's a trend center. So when people go to build decks, you can see that, for example, this Pitiless Plunder is probably going to, I would say, what, Tesa decks? Slimefoot, yeah. This is what I like to call it. Yeah, the token-based strategy, Slimefoot. No Tesa here. There's Tesa. Pretty broken card in that deck. But anyway, that is what my suggestion is right now. When everyone else's eyes are on the new shiny toys, your eyes should be on the things that are just slowly creeping up. And that's the better way to invest in Magic the Gathering, is at your pre-release, sell those cards immediately. Open up that, what was that card called? The trophy, Assassin's Trophy. Sell it off immediately. And then pick up these type of cards, and you'll thank yourself in 6 to 12 months. Last rotation time too, we'll be talking about cards I talked about cards that I talked about last rotation. Look at this one, Zendikar's Insurgents. Zendikar Resurgent, right? Zendikar Resurgent. Man, there's too many cards named I cannot spell today to say. Zendikar Resurgent. This was a card that I talked about picking up post-rotation, and look at that price. Even got a reprint in Commander. Seems to settle down a little bit. This one continues. Yeah, it's flatlined out about $3. But Commander is no joke. This is definitely where your eyes should be on the cards that are being played in those. So we'll look at those for Ravnica too. As soon as any other legendary creatures come out, we can definitely talk about them. Izoni, Thousand Eyed, of course, is going to breed a lot of Commander decks being made around this card. It's going to be a typical... No, it's going to be a typical... This is going to be a dredge-based deck, so you can actually look at cards that are going to want to... look at like Tortured Existence and Pauper. Look at old school dredge decks. Golgari Grave Troll. This is another great resource here. So Golgari Grave Troll here. You can kind of see decks that are built around these dredge-based cards. And now you need to find both a dredge and a token strategy. So yeah, so like Sidisi would be a great one to look at. They might have a lot of other cards that are used to dredge. Like there's some great targets here. Wow, Path to Discovery, for example, that seems pretty gross with Izoni. So when it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 black green insect creature for each creature card in your graveyard, and they all then explore. Yeah, it's pretty good. Unfortunately, there's no like Perforos or Impact Tremors. There is a lot of cards like the Blood Artist type cards, though, that I'm sure that are going to go in. So you want to look for reference for what cards are going to go in these type of cards, or type of decks. You're definitely... Insects matters too. Will anything that works with tribal insects will probably want to go in here as well. Sacrifice a creature, gain 1 life, and draw a card. Kind of a Skull Clamp-like ability. This is a pretty sweet commander, actually. The mana cost is quite high, but yeah, 6 mana. Yeah, that is quite high for commander for typical for things that do. But maybe I'm underestimating just how many. There are probably a lot of combos just right out. If you can get a bunch of, yeah, like Zulport Cutthroat and then a Sack Outlet, and then you put a ton, doubling Season, put a ton of creatures in your graveyard. Yeah, this definitely could just finish off your opponents immediately when it's cast. So I think this is going to be a very popular commander. Golgari cards usually are very popular, and so I would definitely look at, yeah, Sidisi decks for inspiration. Splinter Fright, there's a good one. Satyr Wayfinder, of course, the common, but this is a rare. So next week we will look at that. We'll pick a couple commander from the Guilds of Ravnica and see exactly where they're going to be, what cards are going to be put in them to just go crazy. Journey to Eternity, there's another one that's gonna probably spike up because of this particular card. And yep, the Golgari Grave Troll, you can definitely get in on this at very, very low, as it was recently, not recently banned, but that's what killed the price when it was banned in Modern. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's been helpful. This has been Kevin with Rogue Deck Builder. Thanks for watching.